Hey, how's it going out there, everyone? So, if you're new to this channel, if you just come across it out of the blue and you haven't been a follower of mine or a subscriber of mine for the past few years, then I just want to bring you back up to speed on like what I'm doing here. So, basically, I started this channel about, I don't know, 6 years ago, right? Whenever the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight happened, whatever that year was. And I saw through the illusion, man. I saw through the propaganda. And I went on YouTube, made my very first video saying that the McGregor Mayweather fight is rigged, right? And it got like a freaking shitload of views. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool. So I started doing YouTube, and I basically started off by putting additives in my car. I had this old car, the engine was making a funny noise. I was putting different additives, whatever the case may be. And then I was doing some videos out of my shed, high on cannabis, right? Just whatever the case may be. And then the channel came across as Stone Vids was the very first name I used, right? Now, for me, I could never come up with a name and stick with it. I always changed it depending on what I was going through, right? So, anyways, I started off as Stone Vids, and then uh, end up having this bad encounter with a woman. About 5 years ago, and came across a couple of MGTOW videos that were popular at the time, and decided, you know what, like, I think I'm MGTOW, right? Like, I think I'm a MGTOW. I'm men going their own way. Like, just had enough of all the bullshit, and had enough of dating, and just was hating on the world, and I was depressed, and I was fucking suicidal, and I had a bad alcohol addiction, man, for freaking decades. That was only getting worse, and it was slowly taking me out, man. And I hit a lot of rock bottoms in my life, but um, it wasn't up until one very specific incident that happened that I decided that this has to change, and I went on this journey of self-development and self-improvement, and got myself sober, and took a break from all the vices, and basically cut on here and just was philosoph. They say the philosopher's stone, right? This is just another name because I like to philosophize about life, right? Anyways, without getting too off track, I basically just put out to the world what worked for me. Like, I'm not a guru or a spiritual teacher or any of this stuff, right? I believe that nobody wants to be told what to do. This is the bottom line. Even the people who are looking for advice through YouTube or some kind of self-help or someone to give them the answer to what they're going through, or some inspiration or some motivation or whatever it is, right? There's lots of videos you can get these nuggets of truth or nuggets of wisdom from on a lot of these YouTube channels, right? So my intention was never to come on here and to start telling people what to do, because I have a lot of people on my channel that are MGTOWs, which is men going their own way, and these guys are doing their own thing and created their own life, and they've been, red pilled, and they've went deep down the rabbit hole, and they just have a different outlook on life. So these are the last people that want to be told what to do, right? So that's not my intention at all. I like to just come on here and basically tell you what worked for me. And I know there's people that may be watching this that may know me personally, who are struggling with an alcohol addiction or some kind of substance abuse, whatever it may be. Maybe it's drugs, whatever it is, right? And they got to a certain point in their life or certain time where it's like, you know what, maybe I should switch it up a bit and take a different approach on life. For the people who know me personally, seen my transformation. I'm going on almost 3 years sober, and I don't miss it one bit. Like I had a second chance at being a father to my daughter, because she only knew me as a drunken alcoholic. So it was good. I had to visit with her for 3 weeks after 7 years. So it went well. I mean, we used to not get along so well because of my drinking and whatnot. So, I mean, that in itself was just such a great improvement, giving up on the alcohol, right? Now, of course, everybody's different when they drink. Me, it was never my thing, right? I mean, I enjoyed it, uh, over enjoyed it. I mean, I couldn't stop, and then I would just make a complete fool out of myself, or just regress more and more and more every time I indulged in these activities, right? So I just come on here and just share my wisdom of what worked for me, right? And the new perspective I got on life when I finally gave up on the alcohol. Now, I say that alcohol was my thing, I mean, for a long time, right? So something that it was for me to give up on was very, very detrimental to my health and everything else that went with it. So it was a big hurdle for me to overcome. Now, do I still indulge in vices? Yes, I will have edible every now and again. Um, but I don't really smoke it as much anymore because my lungs are bad. So I try to avoid it at all costs. But the level of clarity that you get, the level of energy that you get when you stop doing anything, when like I've had spurts where I've just went completely like nothing, no cannabis, no alcohol, nothing, just completely sober on the straight and narrow. Got some what do they call it, is for mental activity, focus and clarity pills, right? Just to get the reboot the brain a bit, right? And just give it some nourishment from all the damage that was done through alcoholism. It slows you down, makes you unconscious, everything else, right? All the above, right? But I mean, people normally use this thing to numb out to the reality that they have or created, and just to kind of pull back out of life and numb out and not have to think about anything else and feel that dopamine kick in and feel good for that period of time. But if, like anything else, if you abuse it, it'll own you, right? It'll take over your life, man. And I was never one to let some kind of, outside external substance to take me out, man, to take me over, right? So this is why I decided that, sobering up and start exercising and eating healthy and positive content, whatever it took, right, to reprogram the brain. It's just so much work involved, especially if you're like years and years and years and years into this, to the point where it's done so much damage to your brain that even when you do quit, it just takes so many years to get back to a normal state of mind. And what is normality anymore in this day and age, right? Like, it's all perspective, man. It's all perception. And if your life is not going the way you want it to go, if you're in a situation where you probably don't want to be in, then look at your daily habits and what you're doing on a daily basis to put you in that low frequency, or to put you in that situation that you're in, and then become aware of it to overcome it. If you don't ever become aware of the fact that you have a problem, or whatever it is, the addiction that you have, and in whatever situation you're in, you'll never be able to defeat it. This is the thing, man. And like, it helps to have a bit of moral support from people. I never had it from anybody except for an online mentor. That's the only person that really got through to me. But it helps to have someone, man, to be there, to listen, to understand like what you're going through, because a lot of these psychiatrists and whatnot, they never been through it, right? They learn it from a book and they apply it, and then they try to they call themselves like friggin' specialists in these areas and trained professionals. It's like, nobody's more of a trained professional than somebody who's been through it for fucking 30 years, who experienced it for 30 years. You're not going to get that out of a book, right? It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, with all due respect for the people who are out there doing these things, and you know, in the psychological field of things and mental health. I mean, it's just run rapid over the past few years. Mental health, man. You know, not just through substance abuse, just through friggin' everyday life. What are you focusing on? You know, the media and news and politics and propaganda and lies and deceit and control and friggin' you know what I mean? Like, you gotta see this shit for what it is, man. Not just buy into it because somebody thought it was a good idea for you to do certain things, right? It's all programming, man. It's all mind manipulation. It's all perception control. And once you can realize that, and you understand what you're taking in on a daily basis, mentally, physically, whatever it is, right? You become aware of it, and then you can step back and get the broader picture, the bigger picture of what's going on, and then be able to navigate at a higher frequency or a higher perception of exactly what's going on in your life. So anyways, I just kind of went on a bit of a rant there, 11 minutes in, so we're gonna end it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Take it easy.